And here we go again. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, and whatever, depending on where you are. We have a new guest this week. It is the Rie Merritt. Rie, who are you?
Who am I? Rie Merritt, professionally MVP PG lead for the data platform for Microsoft. I run the Azure
That's
Data
where I've seen you
Community.
before.
I run the Azure Data Community, which is a network of now, I think, over 160 user groups globally. Really proud of that effort. Was an MVP before I took this job, so I have a big history in data. And as it turns out, almost my entire friend group at least does what I used to do for a living. So, all my interests outside of work apparently are also work.
So you're a nerd. Is that what you're saying?
Sadly, I'm not.
Oh.
So, I mean, I have, I'm married. I have my daughter's upstairs. I think she's still asleep. She doesn't have to work today. My dog, who may make an appearance. I'm kind of worried, but yeah, that's me. Married wife, mom, feminist, southerner, dog mom, angry liberal, all that stuff.
Perfect.
So, with all your friends being data friends, data friends, this is perfect.
How convenient, right?
That would be a great idea for a podcast.
Exactly. Let me make a note on that, because otherwise I will forget it. I will forget it right away, because I'm definitely not having enough podcasts going on. So that's an excellent idea. Maybe we can do something together, Jess.
But yeah, we'll think about it.
With you having a long history in the data field, and all your friends, or most of your, I'm pretty sure not all your friends, but let's say a whole lot of your friends coming from the data field.
I have 2 token non-data friends at any given time. That's it.
You want to say hi to them? We'll make a shout out.
They're not going to watch this podcast.
Oh, come on. We don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm just sad, shocked, or something in between, but
as we reach 6 billion subscribers, everyone's going to have to watch it. So
everybody on the planet.
We round up to the nearest 6 billion.
You'll be glad to know we're almost there.
Nice.
There's that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Circling back to what I was trying to ask.
Focus.
Do you have, well, being focused is not one of my fortes, and I'm in very good company with regards to that in this group. Let's just put it like that. Anyways, my question would have been, and still is, do you have a favorite data tool or a favorite data feature? Any favorite data thingy, for lack of a better word?
So when I used to get asked this question, they would ask me, what's your favorite thing that Azure SQL does? My answer was always managed instance, because it's that easy transition to Azure. It's when you're an on-prem DBA, it's the thing that looks the most like an on-prem, or behaves the most like an on-premise install of SQL Server, right? You still have jobs, you still control a lot more, or at least we handle less of the things for you, right? But I would have to say probably the last 6 months or so, I helped create this session on Defender for SQL. And it was just supposed to be this little short 8-minute thing. But of course I have to learn about it to be able to talk about it with any authority. And it's really cool. Like, it's super, super interesting. And I think about the jobs that I've held in my past, where as a DBA or, the director of database management or everything, where I had to sit through audits, like different kinds of compliant audits. And there are actually some compliance audits that don't exist anymore. Like they've just done away with that one and they've created all these new ones. That's how long I've been doing this. But when I see how easy it could make that job, like, just go in and set your compliance, and it keeps my developers, everybody, like, on the straight path. It's just really, really cool. And so I recently did a session on it at SQL Bits, so I got to learn more about it, bigger demo, deeper dive into it. And one of the guys from the security team attended my session, and he asked me afterwards, how did you get this session? Now, what he was trying to ask me was, why aren't we doing this security session? Because he was from Microsoft. And I said, because I built the session, it's mine. And it was submitted through the community portal, not as part of the Microsoft sponsorship. And he was like, why did you do that? I was like, because it's cool. So maybe I got just a little bit more credibility now with the security team. We'll see. But
yeah,
well, the
cool.
interesting
that's what I
part
tell
being
myself.
the security B team being like, why would you talk about our product?
Yeah. Why
Well,
did you pick this?
I mean, yeah, I understood what he was trying to ask me just because of the way things work in Microsoft when we're planning for a conference. But last year I talked about Microsoft's hybrid pathway, right? Like what we're doing. I have nothing to do with that. So I had to learn. I was reaching out to everybody going, hey, can you help me understand this? Jess Borland was amazing with helping me understand a lot of different like ARC things. So,
Yay.
Yeah. Hey, Rie, go talk about this. Learn it. Go. That's what happens now.
Isn't that one of the, I would imagine it is one of the actually super cool things about your current role, that you can basically pick anything because you're not in one specific, you're not on the tools team or on the MI team specifically. So you're still in engineering, as I understand, but at the same time not fixed on a certain product.
So yes and no. So yes, it's cool that I do get to learn about these different things. No, it's not cool that sometimes I'm expected to know a little bit about the entire, like everything that's Azure data. The number of times I have to look at people and go, I don't what? Like that's a thing, right? Because there are there are pockets of our division of the business that have a really tiny market share, or they're just getting started, and I haven't interacted with the team, or maybe I don't even know what it does, right? Sometimes there are features that I don't know what they do, because you know how great we are at naming things in a way that makes complete sense as to what they do. So, but, and then no, it's not cool, because sometimes when it comes time to go to conferences, there's no slot for me, right? Because everybody on the team wants to go. And if somebody who is the subject matter expert on that particular topic wants to go to the conference, maybe they're like, hey, I saw that you built that great session. I'm going to steal it. So there's yes and there's no. So, yeah.
That makes
it's
sense.
good that you can still submit through the community kind of channels to build the sessions you want to give, right?
Absolutely. And I just submitted last week to Oslo.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that was kind of a big, I had talked myself out of it. And then one of the organizers pinged me and they were like, hey, I saw that you mentioned it. So I said something to my husband and he was like, I'm down to go to Oslo. And suddenly
I
we have submitted to Oslo.
That's like been on my kind of bucket list of events for a while now. So.
Did you submit this year?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, good. Is Kels coming?
Hopefully.
Okay, good. I mean, I want to see you. That's cool. But hey, is Kels coming?
Yeah, sure. I know. And the first thing you said to me at Bits was like, "Oh, where's Kels?" It's like, what about me?
That's not true. That's not the first thing I said, I'm sure.
No, you're right. Maybe the
I'm not so sure about that, but I think it's fair. I mean, Kels is fabulous, so why not?
She is.
Yeah, Oslo is one of those jinxed events for me. I always wanted to go in the past. Then in 2020, it finally worked out date-wise and everything for me. I even had a pre-con. Something happened in 2020. I don't know what it was. For some reason, the event didn't happen. I think someone got sick, or a couple of million people, something like that.
Something like that. Just 1 or 2 million.
Right, if we can't laugh about it, we're gonna cry.
For sure.
Let's laugh. I mean, I feel like we're slowly getting to the point where, especially now that we actually got to see each other again a few times in person and all that. I have to say that makes it easier for me to. It's still 2 very shit and lost years, and I would very much love to not having had to go through that. at the same time being aware that it was not nearly as shitty for me as it was for a ton of other people, because even with regards to COVID, I had a little bit of privilege maybe. But anyway, and this year, coming back to Oslo, well, I'm not going to Oslo this year because it's the week before SQL conference.
And maybe I'll see you there.
That would be amazing. But yet I cannot do 2 events in 2 weeks back to back because Gwenny would not be too fond of that idea. I mean, Gwenny might actually be very, very, very fond of the idea now that I think of it. Gwenny might love that idea. There's that.
Sorry.
I was on another call.
I'll pressure you about that today.
For today.
Yes.
I was actually on a call with someone else before this, and she told me that her daughter has her 6th birthday, and I have to deliver some stuff to her. I was like, well, I'm going to send you a slide deck on her birthday so you can tell her this is her birthday present. She was like, well, she's going to be 6. She might find that great. I was like, well, my daughter would laugh if I told her someone's got a slide deck. She would have no idea what it is, but she would be super excited. So,
but if you put like a bunch of unicorns and they were like when you went to the next slide and a video played, you could make a slide deck entertaining to a 6-year-old. I could.
We should
raise that challenge.
This is not exactly kind of what they're expecting me to send them, I guess. But then again, we haven't talked about all the specifics, so I might just do that. That is an excellent idea. There we go.
Although you reminded me, it's been a while since I've sent Gwenny anything, so I need to do that again.
Or you could just bring it to SQL conference. I mean, we're going to see there anyway. So.
Why not both?
There is that.
Smart.
Right.
Also, when you said that 6 months ago, you would have said MI would have been your favorite feature. I'm pretty sure the answer is that because of all the coffee you could have had while waiting for it to deploy. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. I mean, anyways.
Anyway,
I'm telling Nico on you, but go ahead.
Maybe before we get into trouble, we'll segue onto our second question.
There's a second question.
I'll save Ben here. Rie, what's your favorite non-data thingy?
My favorite non-data thingy. I travel with my husband. And so, my daughter's 21 now. She works. She's old enough to not burn the house down and, not interesting enough to have a house party. So, he and I travel.
The perfect balance.
Right? Yeah. Although I think I'd be okay, like if she just had some big rager at the house, right? Just once. Then she'd have better stories to tell when she's older. Right now, she's only gonna, just have me to talk about in therapy one day. So, or her dad. But he and
at
I
least
travel.
As far as you're concerned, and no.
So we sometimes he goes to data events with me, so he knows or has met a lot of you. As a matter of fact, somebody from the data community that he met was in our wedding, Chris Hyde. And the two of them are doing a boys trip in like 10 days, like right before MVP Summit. They're going to do like breweries and air museums. Sounds fun, right? So he and I travel.
Breweries does sound fun.
They're in DC or Baltimore or whatever. I would want to do breweries in Germany if I were going to do a brewery tour. But but he and I go to Disney. We love Disney. We're Disney adults. We go for the food and the drink and the no responsibility, and we stay on property, so we don't even have to drive or anything. We just go, and just the two of us, or sometimes even with friends, and have a good time. We just got back from the beach. I just got back from Bits, where I was in Wales for a week, and I made sure that I got to do a few extra days in Wales. We do Seattle in a couple of weeks. We're going to do Oslo in Germany in September, and next year Alaska for sure. And I don't know what else we have. I don't know what else we have planned for 2024, but it's all subject to change anyway. But here we are.
You still get a little time to figure out where you're going on vacation in 2024. So
So that's actually part of the fun for my husband is the planning. Like that's his prehistoric hunting down the beast and killing it. And so when we do Disney, we have dinner reservations every night. We have parks planned, all that stuff. I have learned to not worry about what the plan is or where we're going or what we're eating or anything until 2 days before we go, because he is going to be changing it the entire time. And I learned that to keep my frustration level down, I just have to not try to memorize it because it's going to change.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of the pleasure he gets out of it. So I'm just content to let him have it. And oh no, suddenly somebody else has planned a vacation for me, and I'm not even in charge of where I have to eat.
Poor you.
So it works out well.
Thoughts and prayers. I mean, we really feel for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what, Jess? What we should do at some point, we should do a reunion episode and then ask people what happened about all the plans they told us about. So we're gonna do a 2024 reunion, and then we're gonna ask Rie where she actually ended up going on vacation besides Alaska.
Write that down in your notes.
Yeah, along with what were the other
reunion episode done.
Okay. Great.
I mean, it's now basically unerasable. This will happen.
Perfect.
Well, you have to do it like late in 2024, because if we were to do this again in April,
that would
be like,
that's way
did you go to Alaska yet? And I'll be like, next month, in May. So.
What is happening? Uh-oh.
The buzzer.
Oh, does that mean it's time?
There's a ship
we may not have explained that to Rie.
Wait, does that mean there's a lightning round? Is there a lightning round, or are we done?
There can be one lightning round question.
Sorry.
So, to wrap things up, Rie, tell us what your favorite food is that we can eat from where you're from or where you're living right now. As me and Ben always get hungry.
Because of the great van trip where you're going to go and kidnap all your friends, right? So first of all,
abduct.
Sorry.
Shotgun.
First of all, shotgun.
Perfect.
Do y'all have that in Europe, calling shotgun?
Yeah.
Where you get the front seat. Okay.
We've seen the movies.
It's not customary to have that when you actually adopt or kidnap people, for them to get to pick where they actually sit on the van, but sure.
We usually just throw them in the back in Europe.
But it's also not typical for you to tell them ahead of time and ask where you can eat.
We have to, because GDPR.
Get my consent. Okay, so here in Atlanta, although Ben's a vegetarian, so I'm sorry. It would have, we'd go down to Little 5 Points in Atlanta, and we would either go to the Vortex, which has amazing burgers, and after 4 p.m. they don't let kids in, or Fox Brothers Ribs, which are two brothers who moved from Texas and brought Texas barbecue to Atlanta. I don't even think there's a vegetarian side. Like, I think even their mac and cheese has meat in it, probably, right? So,
Ben, I'll take one for the team here.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Jess.
They're so good. I have friends who have moved to Seattle that when I fly out for a visit, I will swing by Fox Brothers on my way to the airport. Fox Brothers will pack them to travel for me. They're like super wrapped up and boxed and then bagged. And I've gotten on a plane in Atlanta and it's just a little white, clear-ish plastic grocery bag, right? And had people on the plane look at me and go, "Is that Fox Brothers?" How do you know that? Like, I'm just randomly getting on a plane in Atlanta, and I'm like, "It is? You can't have it?" And they're like, more than once somebody's like noticed, "Hey, is that?" It is. It's a completely nondescript bag, but even the porter checking in my luggage at the airport was like, "Hey, is that Fox Brothers?" What? Yes, it is. So it just makes me wonder how many other people do it, right? That they expect travelers to have a styrofoam container full of ribs. I don't know. That's where we would go. The Vortex, The Vortex and Fox Brothers. So you can all.
I dropped Jess at
Look
that
that
Fox Brothers thingy so she can have these ribs because apparently, well, I will go over to that burger place, have a veggie or a fish or whatever burger. I'm pretty sure they have some. Okay, I'll have fries.
I'll check. Okay. There are places down here where the fries aren't vegetarian, but
Meat fries?
well, I mean, if they're cooked in duck fat,
America.
that's not vegetarian, right? Woo! Heart attack.
That is true, but I would eat it if they're cooked in duck. So like also
Okay.
if it's like a I'm not a fan of chicken stock, for example, but if I'm somewhere and they're serving a soup and it has chicken stock in it, I will still eat
I mean,
it.
have you ever met a chicken? They're awful. Like they're just ugly.
It's not about
they
the
have
chicken.
creepy
I
little
don't like.
feet and creepy. Those beaks look like a bone growing out of their face. I will totally eat chicken stock because that's what they get.
This podcast.
It's more of a taste thingy for me than me getting too close to the chicken, emotionally or physically. So
got it. Cool, understood.
Good stuff.
I'll try to find you, lady. There's Bluebird, Ladybird, something. There's a place nearby that's a vegan restaurant, but it's like great for breakfast and stuff. They have sausage. Sounds totally lame, but it's
I
really
feel
good.
like I'm not getting even something that's even close to like favorite food. So I may just starve this episode.
Scraping the barrel. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
so. On that note, Rie, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. Can you tell people where they can find you on the internet if they want to get in contact?
You can find me on Twitter at Irish Sequel. Same for Mastodon. I'm on the Data Platform social server. You can find me on LinkedIn. I think it's LinkedIn something/ Rie Merritt. And
sounds about right.
And I don't really blog anymore. It used to be Repedia.net, but because my friends asked me questions that they should ask an encyclopedia, so that became a joke. So that's my blog, Repedia.net. One day I'll blog again.
Perfect.
So that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well,
thanks. You, both of you, and everyone, to the 6 billion people listening to this episode.
That's
it was
6 billion.
Our pleasure having you here.
Given the birth rate, 6 million and like 5.
Perfect.
6 billion and 5 since we started.
Yeah, we want to be realistic. Not everyone is watching us.
That's
There's
true.
like 5 people who
the 5 babies aren't going to watch.
Exactly.
Right?
Not until they're at least 1.
Yes.
This podcast is marked not safe for work.
PG-1, if that's
Nice. It was really good to talk to both of you today. I'm glad you do this.
It was fun. Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Bye.